that game last night?
There was none in the first half, that's for sure.
It was awful.
Brutal.
Well, I mean, there were a couple of things.
That was an awful football game.
Didn't say it wasn't. Didn't say it wasn't. 22-9, the Chiefs beat the Giants last night. Patrick Mahomes, 22 of 37, 224 and a touchdown. He was not the leading rusher for the Chiefs, so I guess that's a win. Russell Wilson had 2 interceptions for the Giants, and he was booed last night at his home stadium. They were booed last night at their home stadium. And there was a moment on the sidelines that I think was pretty interesting when we saw Travis Kelce and Andy Reid go at it a little bit, and Andy Reid went up to him and kind of bumped him. That, I guess, was somewhat interesting. And Andy Reid and Travis Kelce have done this before in the Super Bowl, of course, that they had their moments, and Andy Reid explained what happened between he and Travis Kelce last night after the game.
So I love Travis's passion, man. So I'm okay with that. We didn't have enough of it that second quarter. Well, it wasn't where we needed to be. So within reason, he knows. He knows when to back off the pedal and knows when to push it too. So that's part I love about him. I mean, the guy's all in. Just sometimes I have to be the policeman.
Was there a specific play that was bothering you, or was it more trying to get something out of him? Or?
No, he was all in. He was all in. Listen, he's an emotional guy. He's Irish.
Just related to that, I mean, it looked like you felt like maybe you were telling him to, I hate to put it this strongly, but to back off a little bit. Do you feel like within reason?
Don't make too much of it. I mean, look, he's a passionate guy, and I love that part. So I've been through a lot of things with him. So that's all part of it. I love that he loves to play the game. That's what I love, and it's an emotional game. So I'll take it.
So the Chiefs are now 1-2. They had that moment on the sidelines. And maybe that's the microcosm of their season so far, that we visually see the frustration. Do you feel better about them right now after a win? Because at least they won?
No, they didn't look good. They beat the Giants, who are awful. They didn't beat a quality opponent, and they didn't look good doing it. And we have seen this before between Andy Reid and Travis Kelce, but this one felt a little different because you're right. He looks different. So far this season, he has not looked like the Travis Kelce of old. And that happens for everybody at some point in their career. And I know that they can take solace in pulling out a win. But even in a victory, there are some big red flags for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, when you do the compare and contrast with the Cowboys offense versus what you saw from the Chiefs offense week over week against that same Giants defense, yeah, it leaves a lot to be desired for Kansas City. There aren't a ton of explosive elements in their passing game. They don't have a consistent running game. And in a game where your defense held the opponent to single digits, you're still talking about it being a one-possession game into the fourth quarter. That is not acceptable, especially when you consider the rest of the AFC West and how tough it's going to be in your respective division. If the Kansas City Chiefs' goal is to position themselves for a championship run, then it's going to be really hard to do that with the offense playing the way that it is. Now, Hollywood Brown being back this week helped. You saw Patrick Mahomes target him early and often, but they still don't have enough. We'll see what happens when Rashee Rice gets back in the lineup after serving his 6-game suspension. But Kansas City's offense still hasn't gotten their act together. There are several layup throws that Patrick Mahomes typically makes, especially to Travis Kelce, where you just didn't see those two connect. And I don't know how the Kansas City Chiefs get on the same page, but clearly something is amiss. And last night's win doesn't wash that away.
So I've said all along, I'm not worried. And I'm still not worried. But I am confused. Because there were two moments that confused me last night. One was the one we just saw and we just talked about in terms of Andy Reid going up to Travis Kelce and kind of bumping him. And the other, there was a play where Patrick Mahomes was looking around, checked his first receiver, checked his second receiver, checked his third receiver. Nobody was open. And Travis Kelce was standing there wide open as the check down. And Mahomes just missed him.
Yeah.
Completely missed him. And Kelce moved a little tiny bit away from his spot. And normally in the zone, you're just finding a spot, and that's where those guys are so great together. And that moment was like, what's happening here exactly?
Even
was
Collinsworth
very
was like
confused.
dumbfounded on the broadcast. Like, what is going on?
It was a very odd play. And I don't understand what was happening in that. So I was a little confused by that. Am I worried? No, I'm still not worried. Am I confused? Yes. And you can say, well, what's the difference? Confused is, I can't believe this is happening. Worried is, this is going to still happen. And I don't think it's going to still happen all season. But if you do, you have every right after 3 games to question this squad. Every right. And especially when you look at, as you said, in the division with the Chargers, how good they are right now. Now, on the flip side is the Giants obviously are not good. They're 0-3. They have been awful now for a long period of time. Russell Wilson, the question comes up, how long can he start? I do think Russell Wilson's going to hit the bench soon. I really do. I don't think Jackson Dart's going to replace him. I think Jameis starts before Jackson Dart starts.
That is an incredible revelation by you, sir.
That Russ is going to hit the bench?
Yeah, I think Russ is going to hit the 4th down.
Well, Brian Daboll is saying it's not going to happen.
Let me throw the ball away on 4th down when you got to have it. What are you thinking about, Russ? What are you doing? It's the end of the game. What are you doing? It's 4th down.
Right.
Why are you throwing the ball away?
Well, the fans had that same reaction when they booed him.
My God.
But I think Jameis starts before Jackson Dart does.
Why is that?
Because if they have a plan as to when he starts, Russ's play should not impact that. So if they believe that Russell Wilson cannot be a starter for them, and Jackson Dart has not actually hit those marks that Dan Graziano, ESPN NFL insider and reporter, has told us that he has to hit in order for him to start, then Jameis should start first. Like, if you told me right now they cut Russell Wilson, Jameis becomes the starter, and Jackson Dart's the backup, I'd believe that.
But this is a very bad football team, and this is a regime that's trying to save their jobs. Jameis Wilson is not going to save their jobs. Maybe seeing flashes from Jackson Dart will. I don't know if even that will save their jobs.
Yeah,
but it's the best chance they've got.
If I'm Mara, the owner of the team, and I have heard all offseason, in preseason, from Brian Daboll, the coach of the Giants, and Joe Shane, the general manager, here is our plan for when Jackson Dart gets in there, and here are the milestones he has to hit. If he hasn't hit those, if I'm owning the team, and you're still my coach, you're not allowed to start him yet. You're not changing your plan because Russ stinks right now.
Even though he's gotten in for a handful of snaps?
That could be part of the plan. You're not changing the plan because Russell Wilson is not good. If you want to play Jameis, play Jameis. You're not allowed to play Jackson. If this is your plan, it cannot change because the guy ahead of him is not that good.
But hold on, though. You have Jackson Dart as your number 2 quarterback. You wouldn't have elevated him to the number 2 quarterback if you didn't think he was ready to play. You have a package of plays for him every single game.
That may be part of the plan.
You're seeing him in there.
But hold on.
Play and start are 2 different things.
Yeah, I understand that, but Jackson Dart is 1 hit away from him being thrust into a full-time role.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't think he was capable of handling it, then why do you have him as your number 2 quarterback?
Exactly.
That doesn't make any sense.
Well, I'm not making the plan. They're making the plan. So my point is, if
they're making it up as they go.
Okay, well,
which is
that's
ridiculous.
Different. Well, then that's different.
You have to trust your eyes. Russell Wilson is not good. And you got fooled into thinking he was good because the Dallas Cowboys defense makes every quarterback look like an MVP. Russell Wilson is done. He has been done 4 years. The Giants fans know in the first half of that game in MetLife Stadium, they're chanting, "We want Dart. We want Dart." And guess what? Half the damn stadium was Kansas City Chiefs fans, and you could still hear it over the broadcast that they wanted Dart. They know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. This team needs a catalyst. They need a spark. They need a force multiplier on the offensive side of the ball. They won't have it with Russell Wilson as their quarterback. So if Jackson Dart is who you think he is, if he's the guy that you thought enough of to move up to draft in the first round, if he's the guy that you thought enough of to elevate to your number 2 quarterback after training camp and preseason, put him in the damn game because you don't have a chance to win a game unless he's your quarterback. Russell Wilson gives you no shot. And let's be clear, this regime has to win games in order to justify sticking around after 2025.
Yeah, I think the plan or the thought process, Ev, that you just laid out is one of a stable franchise that has the luxury of time. This is not a stable franchise, and this regime does not have the luxury of time. If they want to even attempt to save their jobs and attempt to get the fan base on board for what's happening in the future, there's only one path you can go down, and that's Jackson Dart.
And here's the thing. I could live with it if Russell Wilson was making winning plays, but last night he made bonehead plays. Throwing in the triple coverage, targeting Wan'Dale Robinson down the field, ends up getting picked. Throwing it up to Malik Neighbors in the end zone, doesn't even give Neighbors a chance. That ends up getting picked. 2.5 minutes to go, your team is down 22-9. And you throw the ball out the back of the end zone? You don't even give anybody a chance? Maybe a tip pass ends up falling in one of your guys' hands. Maybe you get a DPI, whatever it is. You don't even give your team a chance. How is that excusable? It's not. Which is why Russ need to put his ass, which is why Brian Daboll need to put Russ' ass on the bench, period.
Well, I think the Giants are going to be looking for some roster help, obviously. Kansas City, too. ZipRecruiter is a place to go for your help at your job, at your work. What if a quarterback completed 4 out of 5 of his passes? I think Russ and Mahomes both want to do that.
Their offense, not really much better than it was in the first 2 games against the Chargers and Eagles. Pretty much the same points, pretty much the same yards per game. So, Dan, we'll start with the Chiefs. When we watch Mahomes play, better, worse? What did we see from that offense last night?
I feel the same way about the offense. Uninspired, unimpressed. Without Patrick, you got nothing. I mean, if not for 3 or 4 plays by Patrick Mahomes in this game, the outcome would have been very different. If you just go to some of the third down stuff, like this is Patrick dropping back. He gets pressure off of his right. Obviously, no one's open, climbs the pocket. Then you have internal pressure. Most quarterbacks, this play is just dead. There's no opportunity to do anything. Patrick Houdini's himself, escapes, keeps his eyes down the field. Not only does this get you a first down conversion, it's a chunk play. This goes for about 27 yards out of those about 300 as a total. This is right before the half. You're trying to hope to get something. Pressure internally. Patrick's going to evade to his right, keep his eyes downfield. He gets one-on-one again, little hezzy to avoid that rusher. And now this is just awareness by Patrick to point downfield. This is going to be a 52-yard pass interference penalty on your 300 yards of total offense. This gives you 3 points. So those 2 plays themselves give you 6 points as an offense. Then you go later on to the game. This is the play to Thornton. It's 3rd and 10. You got pass rushers galore for the Giants. Patrick's going to evade out to the side to his rush because Burns is going to beat the right tackle. They're playing man coverage. He's going to, on the 45-yard line, drifting to his right, launch this ball all the way across his body, almost 50 yards to Thornton on 3rd and 10. This gives you another those 3 plays give you 13 points on offense. To put it into context, the Chiefs yesterday ran 52 plays on 1st and 2nd down. They average about 3 yards per play on those situations. Then on 3rd down, they averaged almost 8 yards on every 3rd down, all because of Patrick Mahomes. We consider it win, congratulations. The reality is, it's still too much on the quarterback.
They're just trying to buy time here, I think, to get some of these reinforcements back, right? Xavier Worthy's dealing with a dislocated shoulder that I think was a worse injury than a lot of people thought. Every week we've been waiting for him to come back, and it's just not that quick with an injury like that. Rashee Rice has got the 6 games. So I think they're trying to buy time. What was important about that win last night is the Chargers won. The Chargers have won 3 divisional games. If the Chiefs lose last night, if Mahomes doesn't come in and break up that fumble and the Giants return it for a touchdown, and they're 0-3, you're 3 full games behind the Chargers, having lost to them. It's 4 behind, really.
Yep.
So they did what they had to do last night.
The Chiefs get the win. They play Baltimore this week, as you see, and they still have games coming up with the Lions and some other good teams as well. So we'll talk about them. Rex, on the other side, I mentioned it, and I want you to show it. The Giants won. It's still a game. There's 3 minutes and change left in the 4th quarter last night. They moved the ball down inside the 10-yard line, and then this sequence of plays from Russell Wilson. We'll show it starting with first down.
I hate this, and I stayed up to watch this crap. Like, are you kidding me? Throw it in the tunnel? Like, you're not even close to a guy, so you're going to get intentional grounding here. Next one comes up on the third down. Throw it up. Okay, that's great. We're going to live to fight another day. So
Fourth down.
I'm got to force it in there, obviously. Who the hell are you going to? What are you worried about, Kurt Warner and your passing rating or some crap? Like, if there's a way to bench a guy, bench him after those 3 plays. What are you trying to save yourself for? Like, are you kidding me? The ball, you can't score when you throw it, 20 yards, in the damn stands.
Yeah.
Give me a freaking break here. Like, I've seen enough, and so has everybody else. Look, I mentioned before, you got an amazing talent at receiver in Neighbors, right? Malik Neighbors.
Yes.
Who has 2 catches in a game. Number one, it should be one in front of that. It better be 12 every freaking week.
Target might have been
in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. In
the fourth quarter.
Oh, but the coverage dictates. No. That's where you get it wrong. You got to put great players out there. Put great players out there. And you know what? I don't want to hear any crap about how good Brian Daboll is as a coach. Give me a break. When you're 18, 35, and 1, you're a great coach? No, you're not. All right? And here's the other thing. You got a great player, get him the damn football. Here's the other thing. I said, this Scatterboo guy, Scatterboo, when I said going in, hey, that's a guy we can get excited about. Why? He looks like damn John Riggins.
Right.
Put him out there. And you know who else you got to put out there? Jackson Dart, okay? You got to put Dart out there. Why? Because at least you got a chance. You guys are telling me he's good. I don't want to see it in practice. Put him in the damn game. Nobody cares. You're not going anywhere. So Russell Wilson can throw the ball out of the end zone again?
What about the idea of ruining him early? What about the idea of ruining him by?
Oh, yeah, going to ruin him early. Yeah, did they ruin the kid from Washington early last year when he goes all the way to a championship game as a rookie?
They are turning Malik Neighbors into like an old school Baylor wide receiver. Just run straight and go routes. That's all they do with Neighbors. Russell's 16 of 32 throwing the ball to Neighbors this year. That's hard to do to an elite receiver like that. They're just saying Malik run far because that's the only throw Russell will attempt is the go ball.
Very quick, like 10 seconds.
What are we waiting on with Jackson doing?
Yeah. I'll save more time for it as we continue. And Shefty, what did you point out on the meeting this morning about the former Giants?
The Giants are 0-3. Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley are 6-0.
Sometimes some things just speak for
But
themselves.
Daniel
Jones
can't play either.
As we continue
for the young star and an offense more than sputtering in New York. Back in studio with the guys. The winner goes the topic. The Kansas City Chiefs off the schneid in the win column for the first time this season. But JJ, do you see this as the type of win that you build off of?
No, not for the Kansas City Chiefs because they have the Baltimore Ravens next week, and they're going to have to play better. What we have seen from the Chiefs, really, you can certainly say last year, but even going back before that, they usually play down to their opponent. So very good that they got the win, sure. We expected them to get the win tonight. They are the better team, and we can't even imagine an 0-3 Kansas City Chiefs team. But this isn't something that's like, oh, wow, now this is going to be different against the Baltimore Ravens. No, very fortunately enough for them, they should have Xavier Worthy against the Ravens. They're going to need him because this offense needs to get a little bit more explosive, a little more dynamic, as we'll talk about tonight.
Disjointed is a word that comes to mind for Kansas City, even in the win here, Mac. The offense can't really find its flow. You are still down your top two wide receivers, but in the past, we've seen them get creative in the ways they want to move the ball down the field. It just felt like plays in the absence of a plan. What did you make of the offensive game plan?
I think there's still, it seems to be a disconnect, which is weird to say with a team with so much chemistry in terms of the bulk of the contributors being together for some time now, right? And that is but I can say this, there were some positive things in this win tonight. For the first time all season, Pat Mahomes was not the leading rusher. Yep. Isaiah Pacheco showed up. Kareem Hunt showed up. As a team, they rushed for over 100 yards, averaged 4.3 yards per carry. That's improvements. The defense made a bad offense in the New York Giants look like a bad offense. That's improvement as well. So it wasn't what we have grown accustomed to seeing. Yeah. But there were some better moments for them. Number one, winning the ball game, but also two, improving in the running element offensively. Tyquan Thornton showed up. You talked about Xavier Worthy potentially being ready to go next week. Now you get Xavier Worthy back, you see Hollywood Brown, and maybe a new player to the party in Tyquan Thornton in terms of the passing game.
Another bright spot here. They figure some things out on third down, 8 of 15 in the game after struggling there through weeks 1 and 2. Ben, you look at the Kansas City Chiefs. Do you say our expectations are obviously lofty of a group that's done so much, this core, but you're staring down 0-3 and you're going on the road. Is a win in today's NFL?
I think so, and it's week 3. You don't necessarily want to call anything a must-win in week 3. Obviously, this team was a Super Bowl team a year ago. We've been accustomed to seeing them play really, really high-level football for the last couple of years, but biggest thing for them, they got a win tonight. They jump-started the season, got in the win column. Not your typical Kansas City win that we're used to seeing, but a gritty, hard-fought win, and nonetheless a win for them.
How much of a concern is that offensive line in front of Patrick Mahomes right now? We talk about it with young quarterbacks developing across the NFL, having that protection in the pass game, but also the complement in the run. Are you seeing still some growing pains with the new group up front?
You are, but we've also seen this offensive line in front of Patrick Mahomes look so much worse over the past 5 years, right? We remember the Super Bowl loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We remember what it looked like down the stretch last season, and then, of course, in the Super Bowl against the Philadelphia Eagles. They are putting resources into this line, and you have to believe that it's going to get better. Again, it's going to help when they establish more of a run game. It's going to help when they can stretch the football field a little bit more, and everyone has to be more honest. And also, we got to be honest here. While the Kansas City Chiefs won the game, Patrick Mahomes in the first half did not look very good. Twice, he threw accidental laterals, right? I mean, he was and the Chiefs were very fortunate where it's like, what is he doing? Ben, you're sitting there watching it. What are you thinking when you see those?
Yeah, those are just plays over the last couple of years we're not used to seeing Patrick Mahomes make, right? It's all the wild plays, the look at this guy. But a couple of those times tonight in the first half when you saw those laterals, it's almost like, man, he's normal. He's one of us.
It
right?
was like Will Levis. I mean, but like Will Levis had some of those plays. Like, what is he thinking?
I went with disjointed if you want to go with Will Levis. But to your point, there were some questionable decisions made, but also the way the ball was coming off the hand in the first half didn't look Mahomesian. Can you point to anything in maybe the uncertainty that it's coming off his hand, or maybe just trying to flutter some balls in there? Flutter is another word that came to mind here for Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, it's hard to really pinpoint. Every quarterback throws it a little bit different. It's going to come off their hands a little bit different. But for the most part, when you see the ball not coming off necessarily the way you want it to, something's wrong mechanically. Either his weight's too much on his front foot, left side was flying open. Not to get too technical with how guys throw the ball, but for sure, there were a few plays in that first half, especially that deep one where they got the DPI there before the half. It almost kind of looked like a punt going down there. Yeah.
Rhythm cures all. It's an offense yet to find its rhythm. The lowest points per game and yards per game through 3 weeks since 2018. That was Mahomes' first year as a starter. So room for growth. And I think that maybe the silver lining here for the Chiefs is they always find a way to grow. On the other side of this one, like Mac, the New York Football Giants.
Travis Kelce just dropped the most explosive sideline confrontation that's tearing Chiefs Kingdom apart, and you probably don't even realize how massive this bomb is for the franchise's future. Sunday night at MetLife Stadium, during the 22-9 victory over the Giants, Kelce and Andy Reid got into such a heated argument that Reid literally shoulder-checked his star tight end on live Sunday Night Football television. And man, this wasn't just another moment of tension. It was the second consecutive weekly confrontation between these two in as many weeks, revealing something much deeper happening behind the scenes in Kansas City that could be threatening the harmony of a dynasty everyone thought was unbreakable. Before we dive into the explosive details of this situation, I need you to do something. Stop everything you're doing and write in the comments where you're watching this from and how many years you've been part of Chiefs Kingdom. This isn't just my curiosity, there's a very specific reason behind this. I bet 90% of Chiefs fans still haven't realized the real magnitude of what's happening between Kelce and Reid behind the scenes. Seriously, most people are only seeing the surface of this story. So if you're part of that 10% who really understand football, prove it to me by writing your city and explaining whether you think this tension between Kelce and Reid is normal, or if it's a sign that something bigger is wrong in Kansas City. The scene unfolded in the second quarter, with the Chiefs holding just a 6-0 lead against a Giants team desperate for their first win of the season. Chris Roland Wallace had just intercepted a Russell Wilson pass, putting Kansas City in prime position at New York's 47-yard line. It was exactly the kind of moment the Chiefs needed to break the game open and show they were back on track after a disastrous season start. But then came the frustration that would define the entire narrative. The drive that should have been a gift from heaven turned into a slow-motion nightmare. Rookie running back Brashard Smith dropped a pass. Kelce had a reception that resulted in a 2-yard loss. Mahomes threw incomplete. And to crown it all, Harrison Butker missed a 40-yard field goal that should have been automatic. It was in this moment of maximum frustration that everything exploded on the sideline. The cameras captured Kelce walking to the sideline visibly irritated, and Andy Reid was there waiting for him with a far from friendly message. The two went face to face screaming at each other, and in a scene that shocked everyone watching, Reid literally bumped Kelce's left shoulder during the heated exchange. The analysis of this situation is crystal clear. This wasn't just frustration with the play. It was the accumulation of 2 weeks of tension that finally exploded on national television. Connecting this explosion with the bigger context, this wasn't the first time Kelce and Reid had clashed in recent weeks. The previous week, during the painful 20-17 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles, Kelce had slammed his helmet to the ground and screamed at Reid on the sideline during the second quarter. 2 confrontations in 2 consecutive weeks isn't coincidence, it is a pattern. And when you have behavioral patterns like this in an organization that has always prided itself on its culture and chemistry, it's time to worry. But this story gets even more complicated when we look at Kelce's performance this season. The guy who was once Patrick Mahomes' most reliable weapon is putting up numbers that would make any third-string tight end blush with shame. Against the Giants, Kelce finished with just 4 catches for 26 yards. For the entire season, he has only 10 receptions for 134 yards and 1 touchdown. To put this in perspective, these are numbers you'd expect to see from a guy fighting for a spot at the end of the roster, not from the future Hall of Famer who carried this offense on his back for years. The situation gets even worse when you consider that Kelce is coming off his lowest yardage season in his career in 2024, with just 823 receiving yards. And it's not just the statistics that worry, it's the crucial mistakes. In week 1 against the Chargers, he injured his own teammate Xavier Worthy in a mid-route collision. In week 2 against the Eagles, he fumbled a goal line catch that turned into an interception, essentially ending the Chiefs' chances of getting revenge against Philadelphia. This performance decline becomes even more telling when you realize Kelce is in the final year of a 2-year contract he signed in April 2024. At 35 years old, after a career of punishing his body in the trenches, the signs of decline are there for anyone willing to see them. The routes aren't as crisp, separation isn't as easy to come by, and the mutual trust with Mahomes is clearly shaken. The brutal reality is that we might be watching the final chapters of one of the most dominant tight end careers in NFL history, and it's not ending the way anyone in Chiefs Kingdom hoped. Shifting focus to how the organization is handling this situation, Andy Reid tried to minimize the incident after the game in a way that made it clear he's concerned but trying to protect his player. "Don't make too much of it," Reid told reporters. "He's a passionate guy, and I love that part. I've been through a lot of things with him, so that's all part of it." But man, when you hear Reid talking, you can feel between the lines that he's tired of these explosions. The most revealing phrase came when Reid said, "I love Travis' passion, so I'm okay with that. We didn't have enough of it in the second quarter. We weren't where we needed to be." This is Reid's diplomatic way of saying the entire team was playing without energy and that Kelce's frustration, while misdirected, at least showed someone cared about the result. Reid continued, "He knows when to back off the pedal and he knows when to push it too. That's a part of what I love about him. The guy's all in. Just sometimes I have to be the policeman, and then comes the line that sums it all up. He was all in." Listen, he's an emotional guy. He's Irish. When your coach needs to use a player's ethnicity to explain explosive behavior, you know the situation has gone past the breaking point. Connecting Reid's reaction with the perspective of other players, Patrick Mahomes tried to do damage control when asked about the incident. "He's a guy that loves it." Mahomes said about Kelce, "That's what's made him so great. I know Reid and Kelce love each other. That's what you want out of the greats." Mahomes also said he hadn't seen the interaction between Kelce and Reid, which is either a lie to protect his teammates or shows how disconnected he is from what happens on the sideline when the offense isn't on the field. The most concerning analysis is that this isn't a new phenomenon in Kelce's career. He and Reid have had similar confrontations before, including a famous moment during Super Bowl 58 against the San Francisco 49ers, where Kelce screamed at Reid and bumped into him during the most important game of the year. At the time, everyone said it was just passion for the game and showed how much they cared. But now, seeing this pattern repeat with greater frequency, you start to wonder if it's something deeper. What makes this situation particularly interesting is that historically, when Kelce and Reid have had these confrontations in the past, the team responded by playing better. The Super Bowl confrontation, the Chiefs won the game. Other moments of tension over the years, they usually preceded dominant performances, but this time feels different. This time it feels like the frustration isn't coming from a desire for excellence, but from the growing desperation of a veteran player who sees his skills diminishing and doesn't know how to deal deal with it. Looking at the broader context of this game, the Chiefs managed to secure their first victory of the 2025 season after starting 0-2, avoiding their first 0-3 start since 2011, 2 years before Reid took over and started an era that has included 3 Super Bowl titles and 5 additional appearances in the last 6 years. The victory came thanks to touchdowns from Tyquan Thornton and Kareem Hunt, while the defense picked off Russell Wilson twice to finally put Kansas City in the win column. But even in victory, the offensive struggles were evident. The Chiefs were forced to settle for field goals on 3 consecutive first-half possessions before breaking through. Patrick Mahomes, who turned 30 this week, completed 22 of 37 passes for 224 yards and 1 touchdown, but also made several backward passes that he himself criticized after the game. "I kept throwing the ball backwards," Mahomes said. "That's not good." The fact that even Mahomes is making uncharacteristic mistakes shows how much the entire offensive unit is pressing right now. The Giants, meanwhile, fell to 0-3 as Russell Wilson threw 2 interceptions and finished 18 of 32 for just 160 yards. The Chiefs' defense, led by coordinator Steve Spagnuolo, managed to shut down rookie sensation Malik Nabers,